Hello and welcome to another episode of the VR Download, a weekly show recorded live from the Upload Virtual Studios, where we bring you the latest news, reviews, comments, and interviews from the VR industry. My name is Kyle, Operations Manager at Upload, and let's see who we have on the rest of today's panel. Over here to my left.
What's up, you cool cats and kittens? This is Harry Baskin. No, joking, Harry Baker. And over here we have...
Ian Hamilton, managing editor. That was a good name.
Thank you.
Good. That's good. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of that last night when I was trying to get to sleep.
Nah,
So I was like, no, I
that's
gotta go to
beautiful.
sleep. And then sitting there in bed and I was like, what can I do? Gotta think of a different
Cool
intro.
cats and
So there you
kittens.
go.
I like that. Maybe I'll incorporate that
Yeah.
into my opening. So, hello everybody. Let's get into today's news. What do you think? I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's
Let's
a big
do
one.
the news. Excellent. Okay. So, first up on this week's news is Oculus Link now works with almost any USB cable, including the one in the box, the charging cable. Ian, as you find your way back to your seat, what is going on here? How come all of the sudden?
Yeah, they got USB2 support somehow. No one expected it to happen,
Amazing.
and that's incredible. I've got this cord that was glitchy, super glitchy previously, earlier in the beta, and I just plugged it in right before coming in here. I put on the beta test mode on Oculus software, and now I have a full 5-meter Oculus Link cable, and
Oh, wow. Look at you
can
go.
walk around my whole room now with this cable, because I've got the other cable, the official Oculus Link cable, in the other room, and then I had this other cable that was just, it was sent to us as a sample, and it was really buggy. And I'm like, I wrote in the review, or wrote in a write-up that, yeah, it works if you connect it to the right port, have the right situation going, and just magic, turned it on, and now I've got this additional
There you go.
5-meter cable. Very
It's
useful.
pretty crazy.
Wait a minute though. Hold on, and I'm just gonna play devil's advocate here. This is nuts. I go and buy a Quest that comes with a cable that looks like it would work for Link, but we're told no, we have to buy a different cable. And so many of us buy a different cable.
This is what I was thinking last night. Yes.
And then Oculus says, oh, after this system update, you can just
Hold
use
up.
the one we gave you for free.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
there's the yes, correct, but there's the other side to that is that now with the USB 3 cable you are going to get an increase in the quality. So it's not like you are. Yes, I think there is something to be said for that, because if I was a consumer who had been told that I needed to buy a specific cord, let alone the official one, right? And
Yeah.
often, even if you're not buying the specific one, they're very hard to kind of get the right one. There was a lot of trial and error going on. So, I mean, yeah, if you've been told to buy something and then you did, I mean, yes, you're still getting a better experience if you have the better USB 3 cords, but pretty, yeah. I mean, it's crazy that they made the one in the box work. There's no way around it. Like, I don't think no one expected that just to kind of just drop out of nowhere. So
It's great. Yeah, I've got a friend who's in that
It's-
exact boat where he went through like 3 or 4 different chords trying to get the one that works, and finally found he was on his last straw, ready to return the Quest. That's how frustrating it was. And I sent him the link this morning to show him that, okay, well, you remember all that grief you went through? You went to a Best Buy and waited 3 hours at your bank for money, and
yeah.
you did all these things to try to get it to work and get the right piece of equipment. And
Well,
look,
I
and
had something I had something very similar. I had a friend in Sydney, and his dad was gifted a Quest just out of kind of nowhere, just to kind of play around with. And I was saying to him, because he has a VR ready PC, I was like, well, now you can play Alex. He's been wanting to play Alex. And I was like, but and at the moment cords are just all out of stock because the state of the world. And I was like, I've got some spare Link stuff that I don't use. I'll just ship it to you directly. This is like 2 weeks ago. And he hadn't even had a chance to use it yet, but he got the cord. And then, like, last night I messaged him. I was like, well, that cord I sent you is not defunct because you'll get a better experience, but you basically don't need it now, which is just 2 weeks ago. I was talking to him like, yep, you need to make sure you get the right cord. If you don't have the right cord, it won't work very well. And lo and behold, here we are. It's also crazy. Every Quest retroactively now just supports Link out of the box if you have a VR-ready PC.
It's fantastic. Heaney had a tutorial out there where he's like, they should ship a Oculus Link. They should ship a USB 3 with every Quest, and sure enough, they did. They just didn't do it the way we expected them. It's now they're all Oculus Link compatible.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some shout out in the comments. We've got D1360 VR saying Link USB 2.0 gang. Welcome to the gang. Join in. I'm still using USB 3.0 today. And Gerald said, I really hope we get a 90 hertz mode for USB 3 users. That would be great, but isn't the problem with that a compliance thing that they can't?
FCC certification, they would have to recertify it with the FCC, I believe, in order to get it to go up to the frame rate. And I want to say there was something also about the LCD needs, or the display needs, I think it's an OLED, right? It needs to warm up or something. Like it doesn't quite get up to 90 immediately or something like that. I could be wrong. I guess it's not a problem Heaney's telling me, so I'm misremembering that.
Yeah, so it's the FCC thing. I think that was the biggest barrier there. I think Mike spoke about that and said it would be quite a pain.
We don't have an FCC compliance expert on the team, and I don't believe I'll hire one just for this. But if somebody knows, what would it take for the FCC to recertify? I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but maybe I'm missing something.
I'm pretty sure Cormac, when he was talking about it, said it was quite a frustrating deal. I can't remember exactly his words, but he basically made out like it would be quite a process and not quite as easy as you think it would be. So there you go. But maybe
seems like still like something like they should do, though, right?
You know what? You should write in to the FCC and go, Mr. FCC, how are you today?
Or Mrs.
Or Mrs. True. Are you aware of the Oculus Quest? I would like it to run at 90 hertz. Thank you, Kyle.
Yes, it's worked before.
It's that simple. I'm sure it's that simple.
Are we gonna start a letter writing campaign right now? I think it's
the FCC.
I'll tell you what. Correct. If we were going to do a letter writing campaign, I think there's more important things to worry about. But what else do we have in the comments? Anything good?
So D1360 VR said only advantage is charge while playing, but an active cable can do that. That's something I hadn't actually considered. That you'll probably be able to maintain. When I use the official cable, which is obviously 3.0, I can basically not lose charge. I've got it in the right port. I imagine. I'm not sure. You said active cable might be able to do that with 2.0, but I imagine you're going to run into more stuff like that where, obviously charging might be more of an issue over USB 2.0.
Well, I mean, it's obviously a good thing for the industry to have that be part of the package, to be able to plug in and get some semblance of PC VR, even if it's lower resolution or lower bit rate or whatever. I mean,
But the thing is crazy is that it's the same resolution that you're using on if you're on the standard Oculus channel now and you're using USB 3.0, which I am because I haven't upgraded. It's the same resolution. It's the same basically quality as the existing offering, and then the existing offering is going up. USB 3.0 is getting better, and I just think that's almost crazy. I remember last night when Heaney messaged everyone, he was like, "It's working on 2.0." I expected it to be like with a big kind of asterisk of like at the cost of performance resolution or something, but no, they've kind of shifted everything up. It's pretty nuts.
There's a lot of situations where you can run the USB cord into another room with your PC in a separate room just because of this. Because it's sort of, if we had that optical connection cable that was like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and you could theoretically run a link to a neighbor's house if you wanted.
Yeah.
Because USB 2, I mean, I could put the PC in one room and really set up a giant Guardian, multi-room Guardian maybe.
I even had, because I've actually, basically my room, which I'm in now, is not that big, so it works for this, but to play anything bigger, it doesn't work really for Link. So what I've been doing is I had some USB 3.0 active extenders, and I've got that, 2 of those, and the official cord. So they're 5 meters each, all of them. So it's almost 15 meters when you add them all up. I don't actually need 15 meters because 10 meters pretty much gets me to the living room, which is great. But also when you plug in both extenders, for some reason, the software didn't like it. It was just, would say there was no USB 3.0 connection. I'm presuming now I've got basically 15 meters worth of Link cable, which is crazy. I could go running around the whole house in Link.
Insert the GIF of so much room for activities. Yeah.
Yeah. Gerald pointed out that he is saying in regards to the FCC, wonder how long the process takes, because if they started at OC6, maybe it's been enough time. So that's true. If they've been doing this, this has been on their minds behind the scenes. They've been doing it for a couple of months now.
Here's my big question for this, is that at one point somebody said, okay, we've got this Quest, and I'm sure Carmack was involved in this conversation. We've got a Quest, and here's the charging cable, which is absurdly long. Thank you for that. Did somebody think, was it even on their radar to have that be the link cable down the road? Is this something that they could have said to us? I don't know.
It's so
I have so many questions.
Well, no, I think
I
think you kind of explained it, right? Because they can't prove that they're going to be able to deliver like some kind of breakthrough, right? It's 6 months down the line. They've got to figure out some serious wizardry with the compression. They can't really come out and say, "Hey, you might want to wait." Like they've got to wait for that breakthrough to kind of tell you. They can't really give you a heads up.
Wesley asked how much of an increase in latency there'll be between USB 2.0 versus 3.0. Now, it's my understanding, and I haven't tested it, but my understanding that the latency is the same as you would get now on 3.0 if you're on the test channel. Around 2 milliseconds. There you go.
Oh,
He just
2
told me it's around 2
milliseconds.
milliseconds.
Yeah,
So
that's not much.
Not much. So, I mean, I guess there's something that might make a difference, but
yeah,
hey,
there's something to be said for we've added a technological capability. It's going to be rough at the beginning, and then we'll slowly improve it. I mean, that's
what happened with Link anyway.
That's how this industry works, is that they're like, oh, here is a new form of technology to incorporate into this ecosystem. It still needs to be refined. And as it gets refined, they add other stuff, and it needs to be refined. So that's just the pattern. That's the trend. We're used to that now. I think that's.
I do wonder how close they are to ripping that beta label off of it and getting on to the next thing, because I kind of want them to kind of tie this up with a bow, move on, get this perfect, and then move on to the wireless, right? And that's going to be later in our discussion. But
that is a dangerous word, is perfect, because I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of kinks in the cable. Pun intended, I guess. Yeah. Hey, I do want to say hi to those of you who are catching us live for the first time because you didn't have a work thing. Hi, James. How you doing? Thanks for joining. And all of the rest of you for joining, because we have this awesome way of seeing your comments. So if you do have comments, be sure to put them in here. We do read them, and we read some of them out loud.
And everyone joining in big screen, too. Thank you for watching us over there in VR. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I spent some time in there today. It was really neat.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yes, you as the audience are very valuable to us. Hey, let's move on to the next piece of news. Looks like Unreal Engine 5. I'll tell you what, I saw this video. It's pretty crazy. Unreal Engine 5 supports VR. Promises generational leap for graphics. I watched that video, and I was looking from a dev's eye, looking for issues. I was looking for problems with shadows, and I was looking for problems with pixelation or anything in that video. I guess we're not at the point where we can show the video yet on our big. Did we name the screen yet?
Jeff's screen. It's our Jeff screen.
I don't.
There you go. No one suggested.
Nobody give us a name for the screen. I don't want it to be Jeff.
Put your name suggestions in the comments. But yeah,
Ian, you obviously saw the video. Ian, what was your take on it?
It was incredible, but these demos always seem to overpromise. I want to see it actually in a game. There's UE5 doesn't come out until the middle of next year, and then you've got to wait another period for games to be built with the engine. And it's kind of hard to believe. It's so impressive that it's like, really, how are designers going to take advantage of this, and is it really going to change their workflows as much as is promised? And these developers always, these engine companies always show sort of the highest of the high end in their demos, and we really want to see it in practice more than a tech demo. And I know they said it's running on PS5 development hardware, and it does appear to be a generational shift forward. It's just I want to see a shipping game with it before I'm going to really believe it, I think, fully.
Here's why I do believe it is number one, I can remember when I started with like, I don't know, Unity 2.5, and I remember seeing things for newer versions of Unity and going, wow, this is blowing my mind. I can't believe how good this has gotten. And then obviously Unreal went to UE4 and so on. I am constantly impressed with the updates and upgrades to the engines, but it doesn't surprise me so much that I'm skeptical. I mean, I've seen so many jumps from 2 to 3 to 4 to. I, it, I expect this as from my developer's brain. I expect generational jumps like this. So,
Yeah.
surprising isn't the right word. For me, I think I'm more just excited that they've continued with their development.
James made the point that not necessarily everything will apply to VR, and then he said nanite possibly. Is it Niagara? I can't remember how you pronounce that one. He said, "Yep,
Niagara.
chaos engine physics, Niagara." It's okay. Chaos engine physics and destruction, yes, and spatial audio rendering, yes. Lumen system, not really. Yeah. So again, and that's the other interesting question is not only what will apply to VR, but obviously if it's going to take, if as you said, if this isn't coming out till next year, it's going to be wild till we start to see games start to implement it, even on PS5 and the next generation. When are we going to start to see it come through on the VR side? What does that look like?
See, I'm watching the video and I see this part where they flip over and they're like, look at all this. And I'm like, it's static. Look, all their, textures broke or something. And they're like, no, these are polygons. And I'm like, what? Look at all those polys. The polys, they're everywhere. They should have sent a poet. It was beautiful. It was really good.
Yeah, they specifically said it's noise, or it's not looks like noise, but it's not. And yeah, that was pretty extraordinary. I want it, right? I want it. It's just how many years do we have to wait for it to actually be here? I definitely want to play that game. That game looked like fun. I'm demo.
You're never playing that game ever. That's never.
Yeah, I mean, do we know what this game is? It looks like
it was made just for the demo. It's not.
It's like Walmart, but celebrity Laura Croft or something. I don't know. It was pretty.
It looked like a
true.
Horizon Zero Dawn in the desert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It was like breathtaking to see this, and I kept picturing it. I'm trying to think, okay, what would this look like in VR? Will this look this way, or will the limitate? Are we at a point where the software is limited by the hardware, or the hardware is limited by the software?
Well, so I think that's an interesting angle when we talk about movie production, right? That's one of the big markets emerging for Unreal in making things like I think Mandalorian. I think that's all made in Unreal, I believe.
Really?
Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but they're already on to season 2 of The Mandalorian, and if they can produce a project of that magnitude that's that popular, driving that many millions of people to go sign up for a Disney Plus account, and they're able to do it that much better or quicker, faster, prettier, with this tech or this similar tech, we're going to see a lot of things needing this in the next year.
You were talking and I was listening to it, but the whole time you were talking, I kept thinking, how long until we have Baby Yoda immortal?
Oh no!
Why not?
I'm so sick of the Baby Yoda.
What? Harry,
I didn't watch The Mandalorian, and I went on Twitter and I just had to mute Baby Yoda, and it wasn't enough. It was everywhere. It's just not. I'm so done with Baby Yoda.
Now we know what kind of a person you are.
Anyway, it's just a money marketing ploy from Disney. Put a cute Baby Yoda in there.
Wow.
You just described all of Star Wars for the last 40 years. Who cares?
Well, yes,
exactly what
I want a cute. I'm mad.
Anyway, don't get me started on Baby Yoda. It's a whole thing. I'm so sick of it.
Everyone spam the comments with Baby Yoda, please.
No more Baby Yoda. Anyway, let's hope we never get Baby Yoda in VR. What's next on the list?
I'm still trying to process this, Harry.
Yeah, I've made you all mad. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, hey, let's move on to the next piece of news then. It looks like remote collaboration app Spatial is free for the rest of the pandemic, however long that'll be. It supports Quest, Magic Leap, HoloLens, Nreal, web, smartphone, tablet, and I'm still checking my sources, but it may also work on TI graphing calculators.
And your microwave.
Yeah, and smart
yeah.
refrigerators. What is this? Ian, did you try it?
Yeah, so this was the demo that really blew me away at CES right before the lockdowns happened, where they had really well done co-location, where you could have a person in a HoloLens in an office in San Francisco, another person in a Quest in a hotel in Las Vegas, and the objects you manipulate, your movements are all synced up very well. I have this installed. I have it installed on my Quest. I have not gone into it yet. I think it's interesting because we've also been writing about the Spaces app that startup has basically an add-on for Zoom and for other video chat software where you can log into the chat from VR. So everyone else, you see a window of the standard grid of 2D faces, and then you are in VR with a whiteboard behind you and your avatar, and you're able to do things in VR. And it's an interesting sort of in between, but it's not quite the same as that true co-location with sort of traditional 2D as an add-on for everyone else being in VR. Like, we're talking about one person being in VR with 10 other people on 2D screens versus 10 people being in VR and one person sort of logging in on a 2D screen. It's a big difference.
Out of interest, what was it that was really impressive about this demo?
Hmm.
Because to me, I can see it and I can see what's useful about it, but like, please
the low
enlighten
latency
me.
of there's a lot of people doing this. This is not an original app. There's a lot of
Yeah, exactly.
people attempting this, but the fact that you could get on every device, the fact that co-location was so fast, and then you could do things like call into Google's Poly program and just say, give me a dinosaur. And a 3D object of dinosaur would pop up after a second's delay. None of it was perfect. It all needed polishing in order to get it there. But it was the first time I'd sort of seen all of these things brought together in one place and one time on this much current generation hardware. Like, it's not easy to do all of that on so many different pieces of hardware all at once.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, so the challenge to this sort of thing is finding a point where we all agree that the clock is right here. And so when you have co-location and avatars from different rooms and stuff, and I'm pointing at the clock, but to you, Harry, it might look like I'm pointing at the computer or pointing at Ian. The challenge is getting some base spot that everybody agrees in so that the accuracy,
everything matches up.
Yeah. So that's the big challenge for me on this sort of thing. You need to have some form of like totem or something that's universal in every room that says this is 000. So everybody look at this and say this is 000. It's good enough though for something like this. I mean, you don't need to be pinpoint accurate.
How does it actually figure out where everyone, like when you join Spatial, because I haven't tried it yet, I've got it on my Quest 2. How does it actually, if, let's say as an example, this was the virtual room we want to join, how does it kind of coordinate where everyone is and know?
I believe they said that they picked the largest wall in the room as sort of a zeroing point, and that becomes kind of the same wall to everyone. I believe it was something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Just general
direction. Well in your experience?
What?
And it worked well in your experience?
It did, but Quest was, the build I tried on Quest was, we're talking 3 months ago now. I need to try the build that's actually on, my headset now and see if there's big improvements in that sort of co-location situation.
I got to be Ian, actually,
that was
when we did this demo. So, it was very weird.
So they can take a webcam and make an avatar based on your webcam picture, and they did that before I came into the demo, and then they put Kyle in a HoloLens with my avatar on me, and so I'm sitting there in a Quest looking over at Kyle as me, and it was very upsetting.
I can imagine that's strange.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It
Yeah.
was. I don't know who was more upset, me or you.
Yeah, I did try the avatar thing yesterday online when I was making an account. It is a bit it's still impressive, even though I was like, that looks a bit strange, and it can produce some strange results depending on the photo you give it. It is pretty impressive for how quick it kind of does it and whatnot, I guess.
Here's what
Definitely
I look at.
improvements to be made. Yeah.
Absolutely. Here's what I look at. Kudos to the folks at Spatial for making this available for free. Because this allows people to go in and play and experiment and try out this technology. While it's not perfect, it is extremely impressive, and there aren't that many offerings for this type of service. So kudos, and I definitely recommend everybody at least check it out. If you're not a huge fan of it, that's okay. I'm not a big fan of Zoom, so everybody
Someone
pick
actually just
your
compared it.
poison.
I think someone has compared it to Zoom. I think it was D1360 said Spatial is like Zoom for VR, which is interesting. We've had a lot of people talk about Baby Yoda and Mandalorian. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the comments there. So
keep it going. Keep it going.
Look, someone did sing the Baby Yoda. Someone did sing the Baby Shark song with Baby Yoda. Do 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 do. But anyway, moving on from the Mandalorian. People have said
I mean, it's just offensive. It's offensive that you don't like Baby Yoda, and I appreciate all the support from those out there.
Hey, I'm gonna have to put you in the corner.
Yeah, you can put me in the corner. But yeah, some people have said they've tried Spatial and uploaded. A lot of people are saying they've uploaded their photos. James says, I wonder what would happen if I uploaded Angelina Jolie's face. Well, James, you'd probably then be Angelina Jolie, wouldn't you? I imagine it would be some weird morphed version of Angelina Jolie. But that's a fun idea. That's a fun idea. Yeah. See you in Spatial. We're all celebrities next week.
Right.
But yeah, and some people are comparing it to Facebook Spaces, I think it was someone said before, and some other kind of avatar generation things. So, hey, it's good that it's free. Good on them for letting people try it out. Yeah. Any other thoughts, Ian?
Yeah, I think about Facebook a lot because they're clearly investing at a scale that lots of others can't. And they've got their avatar generation stuff. And I know I've talked to some of their people doing their reconstruction tech where they really try to create a digital you. And when you think about these future headsets, what you just talked about, wearing Angelina Jolie's face, right? She might not really appreciate that, right?
No, exactly. Yeah.
So the question is, do these headsets authenticate the user, and how ingrained in sort of the operating system is that going to be? Or are we going to really have to be who we say we are when we put these headsets on? And what will we be denied access from if we refuse to turn that feature on in future headsets?
Because that is quite a big deal with Horizon, right? They're trying to make sure that they can verify it's you, and
it's all tied to your real identity.
Go in and, yeah. When you tried Horizon at OC6, did you make like an avatar or something for you that was just a generic one? I don't recall
that being part of it.
I don't remember you saying that you did. So yeah, because it'd be interesting to see if, given that it's obviously going to be hugely integrated with Facebook, whether there's something similar where look, if it's integrated with Facebook, you could tick a box and it could scan every tagged photo of you to make an avatar.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure they'll work on that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty. I hadn't thought of that till just then, but that'd be pretty nuts, to be honest. If I could just think of all the photos that are on me on Facebook. Yeah.
There's definitely an uncanny valley thing. We were talking about this with Heaney. He mentioned it. It was a really interesting observation that a lot of the avatar systems out there look like babies because they're going for simplified features, and because there's like a lowest common denominator where you don't want to show things wrong, so you try to simplify all the things, and what ends up happening is all the avatars end up looking like babies, And it
It's
ends
true.
up being pretty kind of creepy on another end of the uncanny valley. And if you try to make them too realistic and have too many expressions, if you don't have the facial detection software in there to kind of really show what your real emotions are, then you're doing the guessing, which is what we're doing here in our system.
Sorry,
And this,
I got booted out there for a moment.
you got booted.
Angelina
Yeah.
Jolie's lawyers came in and
Knocked
cut me
on the
off.
door.
Yeah.
That's okay. I've had some other people. I think it was one of the Jameses before said Horizons needs to come out as ASAP, given this stuff, and then another James out loud said Horizons need to be out months ago, or at least let Quest friends visit in our homes. Yeah, it really feels like that's a missing link from Quest at the moment, right? Like, this is the thing is that I was thinking about like if my dad got a Quest or something. There's no Facebook provided way on this system that they're selling, like hotcakes to kind of just meet up with my dad and chill in VR. It seems like a huge kind of
Oh, and it has
like,
to come from Facebook. Absolutely. That's going to be the superior platform for us to all get on to talk to each other, right? Right, Ian, you agree with that, right?
well, I'm not saying that, it has to be Facebook, but it's surprising that it doesn't exist. You would think that
Well,
Facebook would have done their own version.
alt space, VR
Yeah.
chat,
Oh, no. I know.
rec
There's plenty of ways to
room.
do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's
Well,
surprising that there's nothing so far that,
so
fills that
what
gap from their end.
what will Facebook be able to provide that those already existing and established platforms don't?
Well, I think we just went to the heart of it, right? Facebook argues that you need to use your real identity and these other platforms do not. And there's kind of like an interesting, how would I, if you can ban a person and connect it to their real identity, you can maybe keep them from coming back and doing it again under a different pseudonym. So whatever awful thing that they've done to the other people around them, if you attach it to a real identity and require them to log in with their driver's license again, you can kind of stop them. And so there's kind of like a difficult situation there with VR chat and Rec Room, where they could actually benefit a little bit from this abuse protection, whereas there's still kind of the wish for anonymity, right? But the problem is, what do people do with that anonymity, right? It's what is it? Illegal activities, things they don't want their name attached to, trolling, and that's kind of like the ultimate frustration here. Is that kind of like push and pull?
Both Jameses have just said, I think in response to me saying, or you saying, what could Facebook offer? Deep platform integration, which was kind of what I was going to say too. You're looking at you're not having another app, because I do think, and I know you'll probably disagree with me on this, but the fact that I've got like 15 different avatar systems for each app. Like when I go into big screen, I have to make a different avatar and everything. If you can have one unified, experience, would be interesting too. If, like, for example, they bring out Horizon, you make your Horizon avatar, and then a bit like Oculus avatars, that becomes something that's available for other apps to take advantage of, and you can just kind of hop in without having to set up anything, and all of a sudden, the Horizon avatars, which are more advanced, by the looks of things than Oculus avatars, become the new standard.
I think it comes down to intention. What are you expecting to do on this platform? And so do you want to be Kermit the Frog or Ugandan Knuckles, or do you want to be yourself? It just depends on what you're using the platform for.
The question I brought it up, I think, on probably one of our earliest podcasts, but there was a question asked at Oculus Connect by a transgendered person wanting to know whether they could artificially change their voice using Facebook's social networking services in VR to make it sound more like the voice that they would like to have. That they would like to present themselves with a certain gender as their voice, or more sounding like that gender typically sounds. And they didn't have a good answer. Facebook did not have a good answer, and the person to answer that question is now no longer at Facebook. And it's kind of like this. There's a constant turnaround in the people who are running these projects. Sometimes some of these tech giants, and I don't know if marginalized groups will get sort of both protection and expression. Right? There's two things there
that's a very good point.
need to be supported by the platforms, and I think Facebook
Is
wants
I
to do
get that.
both of
That's
those.
interesting because that is the flip side of having to kind of that's true. I had not thought of that, to be honest, but bringing in, having to verify yourself in some way to your real identity brings in a whole host of, you know, other things to consider if that doesn't match how someone actually, feels.
See,
Yeah. I mean,
this takes us down a deep rabbit hole, because what is the true essence of your identity, and shouldn't VR give you the ability to exude
be,
that and display that, what you truly are and how you feel? VR should
yeah,
give us that ability.
yeah,
So
it's
if I want to
interesting
be
because,
Kermit the Frog, then I should be
yeah,
able to be Kermit the Frog.
correct. But then again, you don't
It's
want Kermit the Frogs who are being mean and nasty, and you can't track the Kermit the Frog because Kermit the
Huh?
Frog keeps coming back.
I don't
It's
mind.
interesting problem.
Yeah.
It's an interesting debacle that I think we're gonna see kind of come up more and more. Yeah.
well,
Let's
wait,
move on. Oh, go
wait.
ahead.
I just want to bring up the one thing that these when they put these policies in place, it actually encourages a lot of abuse, right? Like the unintended effect is people setting up fake accounts in order to try to route through the system, and then it actually
Mm.
makes an environment where a person violating the system or putting in a fake account could do more damage because you're assuming that everyone around you is a real identity and is real. Like it could actually make the impact a lot
Yeah.
worse.
There's the problems compound, basically.
Okay, sorry, just
All
wanted to
right.
say that.
Let's moving
This
on.
this is going to be a little bit of a lesson for everybody. A little bit of a science. It's science with upload.
With,
Tim
with the
Sweeney. Tim Sweeney
yes.
uh, says that PS5 storage system absolutely world class, better than a high end PC. We have a chart up here. We're talking about bandwidth, seek time, load time of these different hard drives, and I'm sure that Ian, do you want to
Well, the
run
problem
us
is this is the
through some
first
of
time I've
this?
seen this chart, so I'm going to be doing this math for the first time. Is this a Heaney chart?
Yeah, it's it.
I think
No, it's
No,
not his
he,
chart, but he's put it
Heaney
up
got
there.
it from somewhere.
Oh, he put it up there, yeah.
But I like this, the instantaneous thing. That's pretty
Load
massive.
time, 2 gigabytes in 0.27 seconds. Think about that. That's crazy.
I
And
wonder if
then think
these.
about that with VR, man.
So, wasn't there
Yeah.
a discussion about the different types of hard drives and which one is superior versus current stuff?
Well, yeah, you have. I mean, as far as hard drives go, you have standard, traditional hard drives which have moving parts, which is what
Platter.
most things
Yep.
had up until kind of recently. Then you've got SSDs, of course, which are the faster solid state drives, which don't have moving parts. And
Mm-hmm.
then, if you've made a computer or whatever recently, you know how to kind of insert a solid state drive. But then you also have this new kind of solid state drive, which is NVMe, and you can plug it. It kind of like it's like a little slot. It almost looks like I don't know, like a strip of bubble gum or something. I don't know. And it's very small, light, and it kind
Mm-hmm.
of slips into the motherboard directly. It's got
Right.
a bit of a different installation process, and
Looks like
that's what the
RAM you load
PS5.
sideways. Yeah.
And
I
yeah,
finally
exactly,
processed this chart a
exactly.
little bit. Think about that. Two
Yeah,
gigabytes in a fraction of a second. That is quite
crazy,
a dramatic difference, right? If you can load
crazy.
so much data like that, I wonder. There's a lot of talk about Stadia and streaming the content over the internet, whether, our bandwidths are going to really match that. I mean, are we going to be moving to ultra high capacity disks, or does this all need to be streamed? I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's a lot of. I mean, and as more people get 4K TVs now, they're becoming more of the standard. More games are going to support 4K next generation. Things are only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, as they've kind of said, if ignoring VR for a minute, as they've said, load times they keep claiming on the PS5 are kind of a thing of the past. I mean, I believe ages ago, long before they kind of talked about any of the stuff they've been talking about recently, when the hard drive discussion first came out, they were talking about Spider-Man, the PS4 Spider-Man, which you can play on PS5, and they said fast traveling in that, which took a significant chunk of time on the PS4, is basically now non-existent. You just kind of it plays the animation of him in the subway, and you're out again, and that's it. So. And then if you think about what this could hold for, PSVR, PSVR 2, those load times, baby, looking good.
Yeah,
And massive open world games.
yep.
That's a, you know, think about that with VR too.
It's
So which
amazing
one of
when you see
these-
some of those
Yeah.
things done in Minecraft, right? Like there's people that have spent a better part of a decade building out one giant world in Minecraft.
Mhm.
And it makes you wonder whether they could really either up the size of that world tenfold with this type of tech, or increase the detail of those types of worlds tenfold.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So we've got all these different things. I mean, load time's obvious. Seek time seems fair. It's the bandwidth. So what does more bandwidth give you in terms of a gaming experience? So if somebody's watching this and has no idea what bandwidth means, how would you explain bandwidth to somebody?
Ian, how
Exactly.
confident you feel?
It would take
I mean-
it always takes time to work out those analogies and really describe it. I'm sure our commenters will
Yeah.
come up with a really
I mean-
clear analogy, but it's how big the pipe is and how much you can get through it. So I mean,
Yeah.
if you've only got if you want to feed 10 people with water, you're going to have to spend much longer if your pipe is very small filling up those cups. And that's the same for when you're loading virtual worlds, right? If you want to load a massive giant virtual world with miles
Yeah.
of landscape, you can do it that much quicker.
Yeah, Reckoner asked if this is a proprietary new type of technology in the PS5. It's not proprietary, it's the type of hard drive. You can buy this type of hard drive and put it into a new motherboard, but the PS5 one is particularly faster than most of what you're seeing in kind of
Their
high-end PCs at the
implementation might
moment.
be proprietary, wouldn't it? Like they could be
That's
doing
it.
some magic stuff.
Could be
And
true.
when you're
Could be doing
buying into that
something,
console,
No, yeah.
you're adhering to their specifications.
Exactly. So they can they can set up however they want, right? You're not plugging everything in like a computer. But the type of hard drive itself is not some new hard drive Sony had invented. It's just a really, really, really good
Well,
one.
and they don't have to have any type of specific interface. Like they don't have to use something. I don't know. Maybe they do use the traditional interface like they have on a motherboard on a PC. I mean, will you be able to upgrade this hard drive down the road? And if so, I mean, it seems to me like hard
Perhaps
drives
not.
nowadays could be just chips soldered on.
can't-
But I would
There,
imagine
can't see them.
replaceable.
maybe Heaney
Okay,
can
so
correct me on
expand it.
this, but
so
isn't
you
there
can
a limit?
expand but not replace. Okay, good.
There was a limit on how many times you can sort of rewrite an SSD, more or less. I mean,
I have never, and if you're in the comments, tell us. I have never heard of anybody saying, "Oh, I had to replace my hard drive in my computer today. I
Yeah,
ran out of
so-
rewrites. I used the last one. Now it's dead." I've never
You got to really
heard
push
that
it.
once.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's technically yes, but I mean the amount of stuff you have
like
to
5
push
to 10
through it-
years or something. Yeah.
I wonder how
I mean,
many
it'd be-
people have used up their 10,000 hours on their TV, Netflix
Yeah,
and
it's
chilling
one of
during the
those things.
pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So
well, anything
had a couple
more
of
to say
people
on-
mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's been a few comments come through. A couple of people have mentioned Xbox Series X, how there's no VR support for that, of course. James said Xbox Series X storage solutions sound like a headache. Gerald also before agreed with your water pipe analogy, saying the bigger the pipe, the more you can push through. The smaller the pipe, the less water you can push through. I think that the pipe analogy is probably the easiest way to go. That makes sense. So yeah, it's a bigger hard drive pipe. You can push more data through quicker.
The internet is a series of tubes.
Yes.
Are you old enough to
Correct.
know that joke? Baby Yoda told me that joke.
Baby Yoda told you that joke.
Baby
Really,
Yoda,
because Baby
yeah.
Yoda's like tiny, so he's like young.
Okay. Series of tubes. Okay, so I think that's the news for this week. Let's move on to release of the week. So this is where we
Ooh.
talk about new fun stuff that we played that may have just come out, or maybe we just discovered it recently. Harry, why don't you kick us off? What have you played this week?
What have I played this week? So I've been playing Tetris Effect on this bad boy, the Quest. I haven't played too much of it. I played a little bit of it the other day. I played, I think, about an hour, a couple of the levels of the journey mode. Lots of fun. I think people will not like my opinions on Tetris Effect, so I'll keep them. I enjoyed it. I just don't it's good. That's where I'll.
Are you
I mean,
bad
I don't
at
know.
it, Harry? Is
Ian-
that what this is? You don't like
No,
it
it's
'cause
like no. I'm actually pretty decent at Tetris. Actually, it's not that. But it's not like I don't know. I enjoyed it. I didn't see I don't know what I expected, to be honest. Ian, you talk about it, you love it, so
Yeah,
you go right
well,
ahead.
I mean, I got into Tetris 99 a lot more, to be honest, on Switch than I did Tetris Effect. I'm a big fan
Mm.
of sort of the marathon mode and trying to get as many lines as I humanly can when it ramps up the speed to the highest possible sort of level. And Tetris Effect isn't that kind of game. It's sort of the opposite end, where it's just 45 or whatever it is, number of lines per level, and the serene sort of vibe you get into. And like I said in my review, it is an absolute joy to go outside and sort of sit in a shady place with the breeze running against your arms and just chill out and play some Tetris. But yeah, like I said, I kind of miss the Tetris 99 angle of things and trying to beat other people. I loved when these games both came out. Like, did they really expect that? It's kind of odd for Sony to fund such a chill version of Tetris, and then my Nintendo to fund like this hyper competitive version of Tetris that's battle royale. And
Which
I don't
is,
know. It's
almost you would expect the reverse from them, wouldn't you? Like,
yeah.
Nintendo was so usually not competitive kind of minded. But
I
yeah,
mean, I love it's a great relaxing experience, and once you can actually go into the environment, sort of like a Zen thing, where you don't have the Tetris area in front of you. You could just sort of chill in the
it's
environments if
kind
you
of
wanted
chill.
afterwards.
So I've
I'm
played
sure.
this on the PSVR.
Mm.
About an hour in, I take the headset off, and I'm just like, because you get that Tetris effect, like
You get
you
really into it.
see, you
Yeah,
do, and then when you play it in, but have you tried it in VR? It's crazy. You
yeah,
walk around and you're just like, what am I doing? Whoa! It takes a while to
yeah.
get out of it, and that to me that makes it that much better of a Tetris game. I'm a huge fan of Tetris.
I will
Huge fan.
say, minor thing that really frustrated me at first was the touch controllers don't feel in any way optimized for Tetris. I had to fiddle around with the controls, especially because the default controls on the left stick is push up is to kind of hard drop, and it means you can accidentally really easily hard drop because you're not using a D-pad if you're trying to move things. I had to change the hard drop to triggers and whatnot. That was one thing that I was like, I want a D-pad.
Just get
But
better at Tetris. It was fine.
Yeah.
I know,
We
buddy.
hear you, Harry. You have a hard
It,
time
it,
with
No, I
Tetris.
think
It's
it's
okay. No, it's fine.
I
Not
think it's a
everybody's
pretty
good with
common
Tetris. It's
opinion that you
okay.
like a D-pad for Tetris. I don't feel like that's even like just me. I feel like most people like D-pads
it
for
does work with a
Tetris.
gamepad though. If you can't
Ah,
connect
okay,
a
cool.
gamepad to a
On
Quest.
Quest, you can connect it. Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah, I didn't test
I
it,
did
but
see it in the
people have tried
options,
it,
but I
and
haven't tested it. Yeah, interesting. That'd be cool.
Cool.
Cool,
What
cool,
have I
cool.
played this week? I actually, after watching Ian show some stuff off, I decided to put side quest on my quest and go in and dig around through that for a while and see what I could find. Found and I'm drawing a blank on the name right now, but the hand tracking thing on
Oh,
physics
side
the
quest.
lab.
physics lab.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's another one I've been playing. That's fun.
That was pretty cool. I was pretty happy. I have noticed that darker rooms uh, make the hand tracking challenging, and so I
Yeah.
have been just throwing lights all over the place just to make sure that it works well. Yeah, it's pretty good.
This calms me down just looking at it. It's
Oh, and
beautiful.
now it's gone. There's the hand physics lab.
Particles.
No,
There it
yeah, that's
is.
the other thing. I
Yep.
forgot about to mention it, but I was playing the hand physics lab as well. There's a video on that that I recorded. It's on our YouTube channel. It's lots of fun. I think what's interesting is that to me, the hand physics lab kind of shows the best and worst side of hand tracking kind of on the Quest. And I don't mean worst side in like a really negative way, but it makes you kind of aware of what I really appreciate is that it tells you, make sure you're in a well-lit room, hold your hands in kind of view as much as possible. It kind of makes you aware it's very clear on the kind of downsides and what you need to be doing to get the best results. And I had a lot of fun with it, but I feel like it also showed me I feel like it's a perfect indicator of where hand tracking is at and how much you can kind of get away with it at the moment.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
I gotta say, I played Doom this week,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
holy moly, that
Was it
is
good?
incredible.
on the Quest.
Yeah.
So
Sounded like you
I am
enjoyed
a
it.
I've got the I get very queasy from smooth locomotion, and I went in there for several. So there's some kind of a recording bug with those ports to Quest where you can't really get the audio recording well
Mm.
with some of those ports. And so I put an iPad in a bag and wore an iPad with a headphone jack coming out of my headset going into the iPad to record the audio of Doom because we put out this video. David went out there and tried everything he could throw at this engine. It's an engine from Dr. Beef, I think is
Yeah,
the
it's Dr.
name
Beef. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
that it goes by. And then there's also a launcher app that sort of lets you download various mods and modes and assets to apply to these things. But David went and got all these original games, Heretic and his the original Doom. So and he filmed it and he did his best trying to, I think, cast it. There were people in the comments saying, does it look that way in VR? So I went back in and got the absolute best possible recording I could, doing this manual audio recording system using the original Doom. So I just went onto Steam, bought $5 Doom, dragged it onto SideQuest, and boom, this launcher took care of it. And it's just magic to be able to kind of do that. It's
It's
amazing to
worth
me.
it's worth noting for those who maybe don't know, haven't read about this kind of Doom on Quest thing. One, it does have to be side-loaded. It's not like going to the Quest store. But two, although as you said, you can go and buy Doom, or if you own Doom games, you can copy the files onto your Quest to use those. But you don't need to. You can just kind of run it out of the box with open source. There's open source versions of Doom with kind of open source assets and stuff that people have made online. That's been a whole thing before this Quest version was came into fruition. But yeah,
So
so you can chuck your files in, you can use it as is. It's great.
yeah,
Did it record your microphone?
I did
Okay.
not. No,
Oh.
I
I
was
think it's really
just straight
hard. I don't know
gameplay.
if there's a. I've never found a way to record unless I'm using Link or something. Recording the Quest microphone's kind of.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of challenge with that. But yeah, I just see this picture and I just hear it. It's like
Yep.
yeah. Hey, can
No.
you do like other WAD files like
Yeah,
the Barney Doom and stuff like that?
I think so. It seemed like
Cool.
it was a robust engine, but like honestly, I'm totally new to sort of the Doom modding scene,
Ah,
but this launcher it seems robust. And like I said, if you look at David's video out there, he threw several different files at it, and it sort
And
of
the
loaded
good
them
thing about
all
the
up.
launcher is you can quickly kind of combo things together, right? You can go play this version of Doom with this stuff enabled, and you can the launcher lets you quickly change things. Yeah.
But it is so cool to be like it's so uh, you feel that the walls are very flat, right? I mean, it's obviously everything is sort of cardboardish, but there's something about it that just seems it's amazing to kind of visit that place we've seen on a 2D screen for so many years, and you really do feel like you're there. It does a really amazing job. And then you're double handing a shotgun where you can kind of really aim around corners
Because the
at
weapons have
demons coming
been
around this way.
they're like VR versions of weapons, right? There's a kind of VR weapon pack that you can.
Yep,
I'm pretty sure
there's
is
a
what they
couple of them,
recommend
I
you
think.
enable. Yeah,
so are you able to do like? Is there a keyboard or something? Can you put in? I mean, IDKFA, IDDQD, IDSPI, SPOPD. Put the codes in.
There
What
I
was
would
some
no
think
kind of a
clipping look
that's
log.
like
I
on
don't know
that?
about codes. I didn't think
Damn.
there was like a terminal sort of where you can manually type things in somehow, for
Excellent.
like a configuration system. Like that was before you loaded it up. Um,
yeah. I don't know much about Doom, but I'm pretty sure from what I read and what I wrote about it, they tried really hard to make it uh compatible with all of the Doom modding stuff that you know and love from you know that exists.
I'm gonna have to do that today. I have to. That
Yeah,
just
so
sounds like so much fun.
they're polishing it up, and it should hit SideQuest soonish. But I think they want to
yeah.
really make it work
Got
really
it.
reliably before they get it out there. There was teleport in the menus, but I never got teleport. I have yet to do teleport, and teleport is kind of important to me, because of my stomach. But it's definitely there in the menus. So that should be good for a
Cool.
lot of people.
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah.
Excellent. All right. Any other new releases for this week that we want to talk about?
I think that was pretty much everything that I played. Anything else,
Okay.
Ian?
Phantom is Phantom out?
Don't think so yet.
No.
Pretty sure no.
I s-
But
no.
Huh?
Those are the
There
big
we
things
go.
I played. Yeah.
Those are
I
the
wish
big
we had
ones.
Jamie
Those are the
here.
big ones.
Here's
I
Jamie.
know.
Yeah. Poor Jamie. Jamie couldn't join today. Wasn't feeling well. But hopefully next week. Anyway,
He'll be okay.
what's our
Hey,
last topic?
let's go to the hot topic. Dun
Hot
dun
topic.
dun. Not to be
Sizzling.
confused with the retail establishment. It's the hot topic. Not,
The hot topic. Correct.
we're not buying like
Correct.
goth stuff. Uh, should all VR headsets be wireless right now? I mean, we've got a lot of discussion about Link, and we've got a lot of discussion about PSVR 2 and Rift S or Rift, whatever they're going to call the next version. But why isn't it all wireless? And I personally think, because we know that Carmack has said things about like, oh, you know, a dongle and put you on the LAN and all that stuff. I don't know, Ian. Why aren't we all wireless yet?
Yeah, it's kind of a pain to open up your PC. I took some grief in this, last time I mentioned this because the PC audience is clearly very much familiar with opening up your PC and adding on components in there, but you're just reducing how many people you can really get into VR by doing that. And so there's no great wireless thing that you can just plug and play. And so
So are
it's
we?
it's
See, this is
yeah.
interesting. Are we saying all VR should be wireless without a computer, or all VR should be wireless? I mean, I guess we're saying wireless
Ah,
with a computer. There's two. Quest is wireless, but of course it's a mobile headset.
the answer
But I
is
presume we're.
yes. Both.
I presume yes. We're also hoping that that
Well,
headsets like the
do,
Index and the Rift S.
do either of you have any experience with the wireless Vive
Mm-hmm.
technology? Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
don't. But that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
so that requires you stick, like Ian was saying, you stick a card in your computer, a little antenna comes out, and it has to be line of sight to be able to see you. And the further you are away, the lower the resolution, because the lower the signal and the bandwidth and blah 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 blah. What if there was just a dongle? Wi-Fi 6 is coming out, or maybe everybody will have little 5G dongles. I don't know, but because I think the
Well,
Vive actually uses WiGig, which is it's a form of 5G. I don't know. I've been using
yeah.
it for a couple
Well.
months.
One thing last night that Heaney pointed out was that he said if they can get Link working on USB 2.0, there's no reason they can't get it working on a little wireless dongle.
Right,
Because if you think about
right.
the speeds and whatnot that are required, so I think that's kind of, if we're talking about this wireless discussion. I think a big one that obviously would be on people's minds is wireless Link, which doesn't seem unreasonable to presume would be definitely in the works and hopefully coming soon. Um,
Well, that's the
yeah.
beauty of dongles too. Other than just being fun to say, a dongle doesn't require you to open anything. You just jam it into a USB slot, and off you go to the races. It's beautiful. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ian, do you are you under the mindset that you are okay with lower quality resolution for the ability to have wireless link?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a pretty. I mean, so like I put this in my review for Tetris Effect, but like I played Tetris Effect through the first time flat screen PS4, right? I didn't want the screen door effect for my Tetris Effect experience first time. Then it came to PC and I had a Valve Index there. And I'm thinking, okay, I could sit on my couch and I could chill out for an hour and a half playing through the journey in a very nice display. But what is the likelihood of family members going, I've got a 3-year-old running around at the time. What's the likelihood that kid is going to run across the middle of my living room during the hour and a half that I'm in Tetris Effect, just chilling on the couch with this cord sort of running right across the middle of my room where it's the highest traffic area? And like, those are concerns that just go away when you take away the wire. And
Hmm.
yes, the screen door effect is one thing, but PS4 also has that wire that's always there. And getting rid of that wire, like this is the Doom thing, where
Yeah.
I did not get sick over my 20, 30, 40 minutes. I kept coming out every 10 minutes and doing Doom. But because I was physically moving my body in circles instead of snap turning and instead of using a smooth turning system, like because I was physically moving my body in a circular fashion through all of those environments and
Yeah,
constantly
you can
remembering,
avoid it.
okay, there's one bad guy over here, there's one bad guy over here, and I'm physically going boom, 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 boom. And I never have to think I'm going to get tangled. I'm going
Yeah.
to trip. It makes a huge difference for comfort for me to be able to do that. And it really
Ju-
matters in a game like Doom. It was amazing.
mm, just really quickly on the Doom thing, there's been a couple of people asking what the mod is called. So it's not out yet. It's called, as I think Paradise Decade has pointed out, it's called Quest Z Doom, or Z Doom for you Americans. But it's not out yet. It'll be on SideQuest when it is though. So keep an eye out for that. But
Do,
yes,
do, do you guys, just as a side note, do you
yeah,
guys call him JZ
no,
instead of JZ? I'm
no,
just
it's
curious.
still Jay-Z because that's his name, but the letter is
Ah,
Z.
got it. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's the reason. But
Got it.
no, and someone else pointed out. I think they said I can't remember. The comment's gone now, but someone pointed out as a Quest 1.5. If we go back to that, higher tier Quest discussion we kind of talked about last week. Now, the thing is now USB 3.0 cord in the thing for Link is not really given that every Quest can support Link now, right? You got to wonder if if there's another tier of Quest, whether that's including wireless dongle for wireless Link. Because I feel like
Mm,
that could be a obviously I think they'll sell it separately, but there's potential now given that you already have Link as a standard feature, potential that a
hmm.
higher tier Quest includes the wireless capability.
I
The
feel
other
like the
thing,
wireless would be separate. Yeah, sold separately. I
I think
think.
you'd still be able to buy it separately, but I do wonder if there's an upper echelon of quests that might include a wireless dongle. The other thing I think though, which we haven't touched on yet, is stuff like uh, potential, which
Yep.
I believe what they said they were working on, right? I think you know
It's
more about
just
that than I do, Ian.
they said they were exploring multiple wireless solutions. There's a quote out there where they're trying to figure out the avenues. The problem is Valve Index. So Valve Index is looking, or Valve is looking into multiple
Yeah.
wireless solutions. The problem there is the index doesn't include all the hardware built in that Quest does. So Quest does an incredible amount of magic in just being able to put the
Mm.
Quest on and then do your Room Guardian setup. And you never have to kind of worry about the cord getting pulled out and it going dark because the battery is in there, or because there's a lot of this. So there's all this processing power included in the Quest itself, and they have to figure out, okay, number one, how are you going to power the index when you add wireless to it? Do you have like a hefty thing that you attach to the back of your head that is the battery and the transmitter? That's a lot of extra weight to add to your head, and so
Yeah.
suddenly
That is,
you're back
I
in a
mean,
yeah,
Quest.
it just gives VR power another thing that they can kickstart, right?
that's, I was just going to say,
Yeah.
interesting because I hadn't thought about wireless link in terms of power. The good thing
Yeah.
about Link at the moment is it charges and it as you play, it's not going to run out mid-session. And that's something that has to be considered if you're using stuff wirelessly. You're not having kind of a charger going there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, VR Power obviously is the kind of third-party solution, or any kind of battery pack. Obviously, VR Power is good because it straps on, but that's another thing to consider too. You have to find a way to kind of keep going for those longer sessions. We've had lots of comments scrolling by the way. Sorry I haven't been able to read them out, everybody. Um, they're going by very fast, but I know you're having some good discussion. I saw Gerald before mention that, we're talking about the kind of next tier of quests. He was saying, 20% lighter, potentially better tracking, potentially wireless capability for Link, and, compatible with PC and standard mobile stuff. He was like, it's going to be a bit of a insane beast of a headset. I mean, that's true. If you think about all the stuff that a refreshed Quest could do, it only gets
Yeah,
better from
so
here.
Heaney wrote an incredible editorial, I thought, earlier
Mm.
this week, And if you haven't read it yet, basically the headline was, Heaney, drop it into the comments so that everyone can read it. But it more or less made the case for why the next Quest could be a replacement for both the Rift S and the Go, and
Yeah.
upgrade the Quest line all in one. And it really made a compelling case that if you chop a Quest down to the Go's weight, and then you also improve the hand tracking so that it is a viable input system, uh, instead of having controllers, then you've got an upgrade path to theoretically get a Quest that just has hand
Yeah.
tracking in it. And we're not talking about the current Quest because we've polled a lot of the developers out there, and yeah, the consensus pretty much is that the hand tracking that we're seeing on Quest is not good enough to ship the headset without the controllers to sort of fill that gap. Because the two we always go on about it, but the $200 price point is clearly very compelling. There's a lot of people who are able to get into VR because it's as low priced as $200. The issue is you can't just kill the Go overnight,
Yeah.
unless you've got a viable replacement. You lose access to that market of people, and you don't really have an onboard. So there's
Yeah.
this very compelling argument that
I think it
if
really
you improve
is
the hand tracking by sampling the environment at a double the rate,
higher rate.
uh,
Yeah.
and maybe even have an emitter on there on the headset that could illuminate the hands in
In
darkness.
darker.
All,
Yeah.
all
I think
those
it
things paint a
Ooh,
really cool
that's a
picture.
good idea.
yeah, you could
Yeah.
have a little kind of thing that could, yeah. I mean, I just think it makes a lot of sense when you when you think about it the way that Heaney's put it in the editorial and the way you just put it. As you said, it kind of makes this like very cohesive line, and that not only do you have everything kind of different versions of the Quest, but you've got, Quest without controllers, and someone who gets that, unlike a Go, can then grab controllers to, um, upgrade the Quest ability.
So the more or less the gist of it is take the weight of Go, take the frame rate of a Rift S or an original Rift, and put it in a Quest that's now 20% lighter. Maybe it has a strap that's similar to here that lets them lower the price on it even further. Take the cameras up so they're sampling the environment at a higher rate and can see the hand movements. Maybe put an emitter on there so that you can see the hands in darkness. And suddenly in 2021, I think, like we've always said,
What a
Facebook has
device.
been pretty aggressive about this, but that could be a future. That could be an all-in-one that really could be incredible, because you could buy, I don't know what, I don't want to overpromise, but let's say they got it to 200 or 250 for the thing without the controllers. And then you
Mm,
go get these high controllers that are tracked much better than these current controllers for another $200. So let's say $200 for Quest hand tracking, $200 for VR gaming, $50 or $100 dongle to wirelessly connect to your PC, get a VR power for the back of your head if you want,
yeah.
a much longer battery life. It's, you're starting to see a real future there for
It all kind
VR
of,
that
yeah.
acts as a much larger market.
I have one really important, huge question, Ian, and I expect a solid answer from you. What color
Pressure's
should
on.
it be?
Oh, those colors that they showed at the Dead and Buried demo.
I
Oh, I
know.
want those, the purple and
The orange? Oh, I loved that.
Are we saying what?
those
Yes.
Are
are
we saying
amazing.
the color of the headset?
The color of the set is so important.
Like the fabric on the sides and the front cover could
Really?
be black.
I'm not gonna, okay. Yeah, I guess. I never considered that you would color the headsets in the same way you'd kind of color an iPhone, but I guess, hey, it makes sense. You buy iPhone colors, so yeah. Yeah, wow, interesting.
Let's see. We lose Kyle?
Excuse me.
Huh?
Kyle,
Oh,
I
Kyle,
think, oh,
almost
Kyle,
showtime.
come in. I'm watching
He's
him
coming
disappear in
back.
front of me.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what's happening with Kyle,
am I
but I'll continue. So
Oh, hey,
that's
am I here?
you're kind of here.
Oh,
I'm
he's
gonna-
coming back.
I'm
It's
gonna.
incredible.
Oh God. Okay. Well, look, that's pretty much I think everything we had for today, guys. While Kyle kind of goes all over the place next to me here. Thank you for joining. For everyone in the comments. Sorry I didn't get to read out some of your comments towards the end. They were going by incredibly fast. You guys are having some good discussions in there. So thank you for joining. If you haven't, we've got haven't checked out uploadvr.com. There's some exciting stuff coming up this week. Some great stuff we've put out in the last few days. And of course, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. But thank you everyone for joining. Thanks for me, and Kyle, I'm sure would say thank you as well.
See you in the future.
We'll see you in the future. Have a good one, guys.